The wait is over, y'all. Banquet Hall Podcast is back with the 4K Film Club. As always, my name is Kyler Nathan IV, aka the Fourth Kyler, and I am your host. It's been a minute. I've been watching movies, as most of y'all that follow on IG, which if you don't follow me or the podcast on IG, what are y'all doing? So let's go ahead and backtrack a little bit. Follow me at the Fourth Kyler. Fourth is spelled out Fourth for those of y'all who haven't taken a spelling bee in a minute. For Banquet Hall, it's at Banquet Hall Pod. Even if I haven't been recording the podcast, best believe I've still been at AMC. Got to be A-list strong, y'all feel me? Coming into 2025, there were movies I was excited for, as well as a couple that I was hopeful for. But I think what's made 2025 at movies are the ones that have surprised me the most. So coming into the year, of course, I was excited for Superman. I was excited for Fantastic Four First Steps. I knew a new Jurassic World was coming in, which, say what you want about the movies, like you throw a dinosaur on screen, you might have me, but stay tuned for my Jurassic World episode. But I feel what made the movie were the surprises. Sinners, of course, that was what started the 4K Film Club, my favorite movie of the year to date. But there are a couple more that I'm really excited to talk about with you all. Movies that either were slightly on my radar, not on my radar, or just movies that I heard about through a podcast, decided to check it out to see what the hype was about, and they met and exceeded the hype. Now, it's important to say I've never watched the F1 race unless the Cars, I think it was Cars 3, does that count as watching the F1 race? Unless Cars 3 counts, then yeah, I'm pretty locked into F1, I would say. But going into F1, I saw it in Dolby Digital, got to get that premium format, which is why I feel so bad that I know most of y'all listening to this are going to watch F1 for the first time. Hopefully, at least on the TV. Please don't watch this movie on your phone. But it's literally why we go to the movies. The sound of the movie, the imagery. You have solidified movie star and Brad Pitt. Damson Idris, depending on who you ask, he might already be a movie star. But spoiler alerts, in my opinion, on the movie, I think he's earned superstardom. Or at least I know he's going to be a movie star, like just electric in the film. And I think that's the word for F1. The movie is electric. It got you wanting to wear all white. I don't know. I just feel like this is the right fit for the podcast. And like I said, going into the movie, I didn't really know much about F1. But the movie made me want to invest more. It made me want to engage more with F1, which I haven't. I'm going to be 100,000% honest with y'all because y'all are the fans of the Banquet Hall. I haven't watched anything F1 related. But I think part of that is because I hadn't recorded the podcast episode yet. And I'm so excited because he just entered the waiting room. So I want to keep this authentic. Let's just see how it goes. Hello. Lewis Hamilton, right?
Yes, absolutely. Is Lewis Hamilton here live in the
Quite a
flesh?
bit.
Yeah, sorry, it's just a little bit nasally. I'm out here in Baku now for the weekend, so I'm just a little bit under the weather, but nothing a quick F1 race win won't fix.
And who's this young chap on your Zoom screen?
We gotta have our burner accounts, AI technology. Actually, I'm going to turn on my video. Actually, cool technology that we have here. Yes, quite. The coolest technology that we have available. I actually look like a completely different person. This is my alias.
You did not disappoint. I purposely left the button on record while you entered the waiting room because I knew you would deliver.
Just come in on absolute nonsense.
I literally, so when you watch this back, because I was doing like a little pre-pod thing and I was like, Lou just entered a waiting room, about to keep it authentic. Because normally I would stop the recording, but I was like, I'm gonna let him in and see. And I was like, Lewis Hamilton, I'm whipping.
Yeah. Yes, quite. As you can see, I've got my team gear on.
I know. I'm so, because I didn't even have to tell you what type of energy to enter this podcast. So I ain't seen you in months, and you delivered. You got the mic, you got your headphones, you got the fit, you got the steering wheel. Like, I am so honored to be in the presence of Lewis Hamilton himself.
Why, thank you. I really try to embody the character. I'm a big fan of the sport. I mean, a big driver of the sport, big athlete, big spokesman and a legend in the game. So, I just try to, full deliver.
And who says you can't be a fan of the sport while being an athlete in it?
I mean, you have to be a fan of the sport if you want to be this great at it. You know what I mean? You can't not like it and love it and, want to do everything that you can to be the best. So, just trying to be a brand representative, a spokesman for the sport, get more, Black people involved because, there's not really too many of us in here, so while I'm here, open the door, let as many people in.
And I think one of those people that you let in is Lou Salem too.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've known him for a while. He, became a fan later in his life, but he's been a great ambassador for the sport as well. And I see he's on his sim journey as well. Got his own little gear at home. So slowly but surely, I think the kid's got a lot of talent on his side. He's a bit older, but more experienced, a little bit more wise, more calm, cool, collect. So yeah, I think he's gonna do some big things. Yeah.
Not the. Gotta hit him with it one time.
One time.
One time for one time. But I think that's also fitting for a podcast about F1, just because, as we'll get into once we actually start the podcast, it's a little bit of old guard, new guard. You got the young talent, the old talent, but I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with you, Lewis. I am going to stop the recording briefly and then get back, but please don't leave the podcast. Like, I'd be shocked if there was another person that was here when I press play again.
Oh no, I don't think I'll be right here. Yeah,
you'll be right here. But now to formally start our conversation on the movie, I'm still going to leave the whole Lewis Hamilton bit in here, but then we're just going to cut to me sitting. One, I don't even know if they knew I was standing earlier, but me sitting, because I'm not about to stand. I got hardwood too. I don't got no cushion under.
Oh no, can't do that.
Yeah, I can't just sit here standing for a whole podcast. Yeah. Sit here standing. That's not even something you can do. But you know how Black folks be. You can sit here standing.
We make the possible out of the impossible.
And that's why you are who you are.
Yes, Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, 8-time world champion. If we really being real about it, Michael Massey, but that's a whole different thing. I'm water under the bridge about that one, Michael.
Hey, if there's one thing we love at the Banquet Hall, is we love a bit, and you, sir, are committed to the bit, and I love it. But Lewis, sorry, slipped. My bad. No, I know your publicist is on here with the camera off, so please don't cancel the podcast. But I saw this little movie that Apple produced starring Brad Pitt and Damson Idris called F1. And when I left the movie, I was like, if there's one person I need to like immediately hear their thoughts on, it's Lewis.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been waiting for this movie for a while now. I mean, a lot of the stuff is funny because like they filmed a lot of the stuff during the regular season for F1, so already watching that, so some of the stuff got a little bit spoiled if like for just from following along with like some of the scenes that they shot. But it was really interesting because the director, I believe, is the same director from Top Gun Maverick, and the same cinematographer, if I'm not mistaken. So that alone had me very, very hyped for the movie because I knew that at nothing else, the action scenes were going to be phenomenal from watching that movie and just seeing like what they did with that. So I was like, if nothing else, they're going to nail that part. I have no doubt about that. So going into it, I was like, all right, it'll just be what else is the movie going to offer,
Yeah, I feel that. So I was not anticipating this movie as much as you because one, you are my relationship to F1. I need you and the listeners to know that first and foremost. I did hear about the movie early because I listened to a lot of movie podcasts, and one of the movies they were very excited for, like they were talking about this like last year, it was like, oh, there's this new F1 movie starring Brad Pitt with the guy from Top Gun Maverick, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm not that interested, but if I got time, I'll go see the movie. So my major like excitement from the movie was just seeing them tall ass billboards with Brad Pitt. And it just looked cool. And marketing works a lot for movies on me if I'm excited. So I was like, hey, I love a good time at the movies. I'll go check it out. I don't know nothing about F1, so hopefully I can understand it. And honestly, I fucking loved it. I left that being like, I understand. I have this friend, Lou Salem. I understand him so much more now.
Dude, I think that's my biggest takeaway from the movie as like a hardcore fan is that it did what kind of Drive to Survive did. So Drive to Survive, for those that don't know, is the Netflix docu-series that got me into F1. I was already a racing fan or aficionado from playing like years of sim racing games, Gran Turismo, Forza. So then Drive to Survive comes out. I'm a big documentary lover, especially sports stuff. So when this one came out, I watched it and immediately got hooked. So for a lot of people at the time, like America had American F1 races, but as far as like the mainstream, Liberty Media purchased F1 and then they put out this docu-series with Netflix, and that caused an explosion of popularity for F1 in the US and people becoming fans. So now we have two more US races. Before it was Austin, Texas. Now we have Miami and Las Vegas. So in the past, and I believe the series launched in 2018. So what that did for F1 in the US and just as a sport overall, launched it into a whole nother sphere of influence and popularity. So now this movie going into it, I think the biggest thing that I expected was, outside of the movie being good, I was like, I have nothing else. There's too much money involved. There's too many big names that it's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a bad movie, but it's gonna be an enjoyable movie. And that was my main thing. Was like, all right, don't go into it too critical, which I still did because I saw it a bunch of times. But
it's natural.
But the movie overall, I think, accomplished what it was meant to do, which was to get the average viewer or average person involved and excited in the F1. And so a lot of the things in the movie were like explanatory, as far as like, they're and it kind of happens in the series a lot too, where they explain things like very like obviously, but like if you're a fan, you know it already. But it's meant to like bring more people in versus like just be a hardcore F1 movie. This is for all the fans, or this is like only for like the people that have been watching this for like the last 15-20 years or whatever. This is for, it's a combination. They have to appeal to a bunch of different bases. So I think with that, they nailed that on the head of being able to give stuff for people that are like racing fans, and not just F1 fans, but racing fans, and then also add in but also make it like digestible for the
absolutely. And I think digestible is a good word, and it brings a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. One, because I love the movie so much, and when I left the movie, one of the things I thought about was like, I wonder how people who actually are fans of the sport think about this, because in some of those scenes that you're talking about where they're going to like, I think they did it quick enough and short enough to where you can't tell how much of an exposition dump of why this matters or what are we doing that they're doing. But as they talk about like the specs of the tires and the different things that are changing about the car, I was like, I feel like they're kind of hand-holding a little bit for the people who have no idea about F1, but it felt quick enough to where the people who like F1 wouldn't get too like, why do we have to explain this? Because I compared it to if I was watching a basketball movie and they spent like an extra couple minutes like, oh wow, his foot's behind the 3-point line, this is going to be 3 points. I didn't know if it was like that to fans of the movie. So it sounds like you can tell it was digestible, and you could tell who that was for, but you were still able to have a good time regardless.
Yes, I think for F1 fans or people that already are familiar with the sport, I think it just depends on because I think the people that are like hardcore fans would be in the minority of the people going to see the movie, as far as like compared to like the average person. Like there's way more people that are fans of the sport but don't do all of the don't like watch it every single weekend. They might catch like a couple races that are like later, or they might watch it later. Like for me, for example, I'll stay up or I'll wake up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning to watch it, because West Coast time and all that stuff.
Yeah, you're sicko with it.
Yeah, super sick. Saturday, Sunday, if I could on Friday, if I didn't have to work Friday, I'd probably get up early to watch the early practices and shit. And so for us, or like that group, it's a smaller group, so I'm not mad at the extra explanation and stuff. And I think they poked some fun at it, like the financial backer dude that was like, I binged all of Drive to Survive, like I've never known so much about tire temp stuff. Like that's the viewer, that's the audience that's in the movie watching. A lot of these people that are in the
it's like a surrogate for him.
Like it's like, yo, like there's me, like, oh, I relate to that guy, or like I relate to that, because a lot of people are that. But and it's poking fun at them, but not in a way that totally dismisses them, because then if you turn those people off, then they're like, oh, well, I don't want to come back, or I don't really want to involve more. If the sport or the people putting this on for us or like turning their nose up at us. It's like, no, like you
Mm.
need those people. So you poke fun, you're like, you give them something to relate to a little bit, but you don't make it such a like a drag. Where and you have the flip side of it where you have Brad Pitt when that guy says that, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go back to my day job, like, dealing with the money or the sponsors, whatever. But it's like, yeah, like there's people that are like, oh, I never knew so much about tire temps. And then you have the people that are like hardcore, like serious about it, like, cool, man, like glad you enjoyed. Glad to hear it. So I'm gonna go over here and do this, or I'm gonna get back to watching the practice one.
Right. And I think something that made it easy to digest too, at least for people who watch a lot of sports movies, is they do follow the sports movie formula. So
Mhm.
it's not like a surprise at a macro level how the stories are going to go. Like, they're going to lose a race or two in there, and then there's going to be these moments where they like come back from defeat and win at the end, and there's going to be these triumphant moments. I do think they still nailed the ending where you still like, dang, who's going to win or who's going to make the sacrifice. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't too cliche or too predictable, which I think added to it being a great time. And I
Mhm.
think I don't know if this will resonate with you or if you could imagine somebody being in this head state, but I think it wasn't until I was watching the movie where it really clicked. I was like I know racing is a sport, but the
Mhm.
idea of it as like the focus of a sports movie, it wasn't until I was in the movie where I was like, huh, like the way they hit these story beats, like this really is your
Mhm.
sports story. And I feel like for people who aren't fans of racing or aren't fans of sports like F1, they just think it's like people just driving and there's not so much technical skill to it. So I think that's another thing that I really liked about the movie. What'd you think about Damson Idris in the movie and Brad Pitt?
I think their chemistry was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think like them. So I saw a post that somebody made after the movie because I think Damson Idris did a really good job. I think Brad Pitt did a really good job. Like I don't have any particular issues with their performances. There were some story beats that they hit a little bit that I was kind of not disappointed in, but I was like, damn, like there's a point where when JP comes back from his injury and he's just like on like his own, like he's on this like arrogant type of time or whatever, that I kind of didn't like, only
Mm,
because I think like there's a part of me that didn't like it because he's a rookie and he's like arrogant and he's full of himself and he's cocky at times, especially when Sonny first comes to the team. He's like, oh, who's this old timer or whatever, and like they have the injury whatever, and like I didn't really like the beat that, oh, his cousin, like he was seeing stuff and like his cousin was the one that was like turning him against Sonny. He's like, oh, they're replacing you, bro, like the conspiracy whatever, and then so he comes back on this whole energy
yeah.
that it felt not out of character, but I was like, damn, I
It was a
really
little
wish.
forced.
Yeah, and it's one of two parts in the movie where it kind of made me, where I was like, not tone deaf, but I was like, why the black guy got to be the one that's like on this type of time a little bit? And I'm like, it could be overthinking it because if you take it out of Damson Idris, you make it like a white dude or whatever. Then I'm like, all right, then it's I don't have any issues with that guy coming back and
Hmm.
being like the jerk or annoying part. So that was one thing, but again, like it's not the biggest gripe. It's just one of those
Right.
things that, like, as a black person watching the movie, see it a little bit different. For Brad Pitt, I think he did a really good job of fitting what the overall for what the movie was. It was a little campy, a little bit, and
Yeah.
I think he did a really good job of. It almost makes me forget that like Brad Pitt is a very phenomenal actor, and in this role, he did a good job of being kind of the campy guy. He kind of had that, like, that he nailed that whole older race car driver, the kind of swag or whatever, all that stuff. But I did see a post that compared shots from F1 to, I think, Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise,
Hmm.
and it made me realize that as a hardcore F1 fan, I really, really would have. It made me think. I'm like, damn. I think that the movie would have benefited more towards what I was wanting if Tom Cruise had been in the movie,
Mm.
specifically because of the way that I know Tom Cruise approaches his stunts and stuff like that, and like the Mission Impossible movies, a lot of those things. And then you see, and like with Top Gun Maverick, like he made all of the other pilots in the movie or the actors in the movie go through the gravity training, like hardcore, like actually going through that, getting in the plane, all of that. So it's that level of dedication. Like he's someone that's very, very dedicated to making sure the film is right. So I think that there were some things that him being the movie, outside of him being able to, I think you could like swap the two and you'd get the same effect as far as like the
Mm,
driver or like as far as like their acting performance. But I think that some of the things that Tom Cruise would have brought on the production side, as far as like his decisions or him being able to say, I'm Tom Cruise, I know what I'm talking about. For example, some of the like the racing suits or like the way the team look, it's a new team. They don't have a lot of sponsors, but there's certain things like the racing suits, right? They kind of looked like stock. They didn't really look like they were tailored.
mm,
Like if all that money's being spent, it's a lot of money.
yeah.
Real F1 drivers, their suits are tailored, they look neat, they look slick, all of those things. So some of those things that I think that having either more, which was also the kind of the point where like Lewis Hamilton being so involved in the movie as a producer, there's certain things that I was like, damn, I don't know why they couldn't have done some of these extra things just to make it look a little bit more real and not like a
Mm,
Hollywood movie or like people that don't know F1 were making the movie. So for Brad Pitt, his performance was good. His collaboration and his I think his chemistry with Damson Idris was good. I think that for him, Brad Pitt in particular, my only critique would have been that you could have swapped him with Tom Cruise and you would have got the same thing plus a little bit more for some of the realism or some of the things that they may would have interacted with, the way the team looked in the on screen. Some things that I think just would have come through looking a bit more like professional or realistic. But
mm,
all that said, Brad Pitt did a great job. He hit the emotional beats that were needed in the film. He really brought to life like the aspect of, hey, this guy's down and out, he's a gambler, all these things, and getting his shot again. He didn't really want to go. He goes in, he's not really with all the the media stuff and all that, which I think a lot of drivers would really relate to, as far as like, yo, I'm here for the racing. This is what I care about the most. I don't
mm.
want to have to do all the press junkets. I don't want to have to do all the like the endorsement
Yeah,
stuff.
stick to the ball.
Yeah, like, yo, like, I'm just here to do one thing, and that's race a car fast and win. I'm here to be the best in the world. All that other stuff doesn't matter to me. Now, realistically, you gotta do it. You gotta do some of this stuff, and you need it if you're like. Because the main thing too is that he was coming in like, yo, I'm here to do this, and he did care about the team. But I think I would have liked seeing him having to come over to more the JP side a little bit, with being like, yo, okay, I'm gonna do this stuff to help out the team as well, because I know like that's what you got to do, and like you're the new guy on the block, I get it, and I know this benefits the team, so I'm gonna do some of the stuff with you, or I'm gonna adopt some of the stuff that you're doing. And JP, you saw, picked up some of his training techniques and some of his old school stuff in the injury rehab and all of that. So I think it would have been nice to just see a little bit more maybe of Brad Pitt's character, or Sonny coming
Right.
over to like his side, or like the all that stuff to help benefit the team overall. But I mean, the results, the stuff he was doing, which that's a whole nother analysis. But ultimately his goal was focusing on like getting the team up and putting JP
Yeah.
in a position to win, which ultimately is what ended up kind of happening towards the end. So yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely received that Tom Cruise point. I really did like Brad Pitt in the movie,
Yeah.
but I think I liked it for the movie, like that Hollywood aspect that you mentioned. Because when you get to like the technicals, like the action of it, like yeah, I definitely agree. Like Tom Cruise fits that mold quite a bit more, and this is where we just need more actors in the world too. So it's not action movie Tom Cruise. Like let's get some more.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get some newer generation Tom Cruises out there. But I have this note card that I've been keeping about.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see F. There we go,
Yes.
F1. With my notes from the movie for whenever we did
Okay.
this episode. One of the things that I think you kind of touched on, you didn't use this word that I'm about to use, but I think Brad Pitt was there. You said the Hollywood of it all, but I think F1 is also low key like a sexy movie. Like it's shot sexily. There's like the chemistry of people in the movie. It's just a very sexy movie, sexy looking movie. Like you said, the outfits aren't tailored, but even like the white, how they're marketing the movie, I think they're really selling the Hollywoodness of the movie. And I think
Mhm.
Brad Pitt sells sexy car racing movie more than Tom Cruise.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, I think between the two, like he's more of like the heartthrob. Like Tom Cruise is a good, has always been kind of like that dude a
Yeah.
little bit with action, but I think Brad Pitt fits that aspect more, a little bit more,
Yeah.
like the swag, the outfits, the jewelry. I found
Yeah.
out I think the jewelry in the movie that they both wore was actually Damson Idris's brand. So one of those things
Mm,
where it's kind of like the product place. There's definitely a lot of
yeah,
product placement in the
absolutely.
movie for sure, but like some of that stuff, like he sells like the loose clothing to kind of like show up, like that's that swagger. That's something that Tom Cruise does not beat Brad Pitt in. Like Brad Pitt can
Right.
walk into that swagger and he got it.
Yeah, because that was my thing about like when I wanted to record this podcast. I was like, this is what they mean about like movie stars versus actors. Because there's times on that
Yeah.
screen, Brad Pitt's doing nothing. He's
Yeah.
just walking around and like you said, it's very campy, but it's like, dang,
Mhm.
that's Brad Pitt. Like I'm engaged. I'm locked into him walking to the car and getting in the car and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
getting into more of some of the things. So you talked about some of the things that stood out as minor critiques for the movie. What is something that you really liked about the movie? I mean, obviously you saw it 4 times, so you like something about it.
Yeah. I think I mean, with it, I mean, it's the obvious one, but the way that the shots were done was very, 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 very well done. I think the camera that they used, the camera rig that they put on the car to like spin around,
Hmm.
was like the first of its kind, like rig
Yep.
where they have that like rotating camera. So that was a really, really good job of nailing like that sense of speed as well. With a few of the shots. I loved the way the helmet cameras looked like, and I've noticed like some of the stuff that they used in there that they've been using in real life F1 to get some more dynamic camera angles, especially like the gyro cam that kind of like
Mm.
rotates a little bit as you're going through certain corners. Um, but above all, I think some of the that was probably some of my favorite stuff as far as like the depiction and the way that they gave the sense of speed, the way that they showed like just real, just like certain things like that. And like I think they also did a pretty good job. What I really like is references to either real life F1 racing events or like the like the personalities of the drivers, right? Like a Max Verstappen, he and this is a quick aside, but
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen obviously have a history, especially with like 2021 Abu Dhabi, big showdown by the season, very very testy. Like that was like either Lewis Hamilton's eighth world title or Max Verstappen's first, and they were
Mm.
fighting back and forth, cats and dogs. It was war, all out war. So it would have been very easily to paint Max Verstappen as a villain in this movie for his driving style, and a lot of people that are fans of Lewis Hamilton, and some that like, or especially like that maybe aren't like super big F1 fans, but just are like fans of the like the spectacle and all the like surface level fans, I guess. They would have seen a lot of people see Max Verstappen as a villain. Now you have, but objectively, I think Max Verstappen is an incredibly like a generational level driver and talent where he is, and clearly like even in a car right now that shouldn't be nowhere near the front, he's still doing things that no one else can do in that car, which is to Red Bull's detriment. But in the movie, it could have been easy to display him as a villain, and what they
Mm.
showed of him is that this is a really, really, really phenomenal driver. So him, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, the drivers and like the dynamics of the teams that they showed and kind of the personalities or some of the common like things of the like pros and cons of some of the teams, I think they did a really good job of showing. And of course Lewis Hamilton, like his driving and like the things that he does or like what he does is like I love that appreciation as well. The only thing with that is I didn't really care for him being like the final boss, because I'm like, bro, like
Mm.
you paid for the movie, you're producing the movie. But I do think that overall, like the way that they depicted the driving was phenomenal. I'm trying to think, there's something else that I really like about it. Damn,
Well, if
I
I
think the
can add
writing.
real.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
was gonna say the writing too. Like for what it was, it made it enjoyable. It wasn't super campy. It hit its emotional beats. Like it didn't like completely lose the plot. The movie moved along. I appreciated the look of what isn't a totally diverse sport now. It showed. I think I appreciated the acting choices or the casting choices that helped to show like this is what it could be and kind of should be, as far as like normalizing this is what it could look like versus just a bunch of white people in the sport, bunch of white males all over the sport. Like you have women, you have people of color, like you have people of like just all different types of people that are involved, not just as the water boy or whatever, but like from strategy, all of these different things. So I appreciated that part, even though sometimes it felt a little performative, just a
Yeah.
little bit. But above all, I'm not gonna complain about diversity, because that's a very, very important thing that Lewis Hamilton has been a big proponent for with like 44 plus and his diversity initiatives in F1 to help open the door not just for racers but for people on the engineering side and tech and all of those things. So that part I did really appreciate him and them like putting that together and just doing it and not making it a super on the nail, like, hey, I'm the first black crew chief, or hey, I'm the first,
Yeah.
like the technical director was the only one that they kind of put like a emphasis on, but other than that, they didn't really go ham with it. So yeah.
Yeah, but I will say, and I think you kind of alluded to a little bit of it in earlier parts when you talk about being black and watching the movie. There were times I remember in the theater where it was kind of hard to avoid like that black man versus white man thing too. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, I'm ready just to defend Damson Idris. I'm like, hey, don't talk to Damson like that.
Hmm.
So
I
I
think
think
that's
there's
Oh no, I was gonna say because there is a part where they kind of slightly touch on. He was like, "Do you know what I had to get here? Like, I had to work to get here, boy, or
Mhm.
bro." And then he was like, "Oh, in America, we're like, we call that a
Boy would have been
participation trophy."
crazy.
Yeah, he's like, "Boy." But like uh, for like Brad Sonny's line in there is like, in America we call that a participation trophy.
Hmm.
It kind of is two sides to me where I'm like it glosses over like what Damson is trying to like communicate, or like what he's saying is like, do you know what it took for me to get here? Not just
Hmm.
like a driver, but for me to get here. And for Sonny, it dismisses it, but at the same time, it's also like, yo, like whatever you did to get here, you gotta perform now. Like it should be more important, or it should be more pressing to you to make sure that this team survives, because this team gave you a
Hmm.
shot, this team got you through. So yeah, you got here, and you don't like you earned a spot on the team, but it doesn't mean you stay there. So it's I
Right.
think there's a maybe just a line delivery or change, a subtle change that can make it seem like, yo, I understand, but now that you're here, you got to perform. Like we got to perform and show up. It's not just about what it took to get you here, because everybody's sacrificing, everybody's doing a whole lot of stuff. So at this point, like nobody's gonna give it to you or just keep you here just because you're black and you're in the sport, or you're the second black driver in the sport. You got more than ever. You got to like really, really be on it. You can't afford to fuck up. So
Absolutely. And I think to your point about the writing of the movie too, I think that's something that I feel like the writers effectively were instilling in the audience. If you think about yourself in either Brad Pitt or Dixon Idris' shoes, what does winning to you mean? Like, what does it mean to want to win? Like, what is something you should be proud of? When are you able to say like you accomplished something? Because I
mhm.
think those are all great themes in the movie and things that just add to just the electricity of the movie, that adds to just the enjoyment of the movie. A
Mhm.
couple of last things I want to make sure to touch on before I let you go and share
Yeah.
some of your last thoughts about the movie. Getting to kind of the racing aspects of it, we talk about some of the camera work, and
Mhm.
I think that's where, like, the one word I always use to describe this movie to people is electric.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in the turns with the cars, you're in the seat with the driver, that's electric. But what separates great movies from good movies from okay movies, I think when you have things that you're expecting to see in a movie but then they nail it to like the umpth degree. And one
Mhm.
thing I really fucking loved were the pit stops in F1.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
just how they shot them, how quick they were, the sound design of it. I was like, once they got to the pit stop, I'm like, oh, the tires on, let's go. Like I'm ready. Like I'm in the
Yeah.
car. Like I feel like I'm part of the team. And I love that. And then the
Yeah.
other piece of it, on a similar note, you figure in a lot of racing movies, especially action oriented ones, there's going to be some type of crash moment. And
Yeah.
the crash was crazy. The
Ooh,
crash was crazy. I was like, it's
woo.
like, oh shit.
Yeah, he didn't just crash, he flew. And when that happened, I that was probably one of the biggest or best moments in the film, because of how like everything just stopped. Like it was like everything got quiet, the sound aside, everyone was shocked. I was like, oh shit. Like I was like, God damn.
God damn. Because like I'm expecting it to happen at some point, but
Yeah.
just to see it, I'm like, oh, that's gnarly. And I don't even use the word gnarly.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like I
I
was
think
like, jeez.
that was like what I appreciate about that, because F1 historically, like now, is so safe. And it's still
Mm,
dangerous because you're
yeah.
driving cars 200 miles an hour around the track, and you have just so many things that could go wrong. But the safety advancements that have happened now, like a crash like that maybe 10, 12 years ago, he that like in that same scenario, Damson's he's not making it. Like he's done in that
I
movie.
thought he
But
was dead at first. I'm not gonna lie.
same. I was like, oh shit, they go because the it was, I think it was like 2021 or 2020. There was a driver, Romain Grosjean, that he had a crash. in I think it was Abu Dhabi, that his car lit on fire and he was stuck. Like he was kind of like, it took him a while to get out, and he actually ended up with burns on his hands. And I can't remember if he ended up coming back or if that was like the last race of the season. But so when I saw that crash in the movie, that's the number one like real life like relation as far as like real life context, that a lot of people that it's kind of like an Easter egg that if you've seen them like been watching the sport, like that was a big thing for Romain. And now he's healed, he's in IndyCar, but it just like it brought real quick to the front, like, yo, these types of injuries. And then of course, like Sonny was dealing with his thing, but in like Sonny's instance, when you see that footage of him laid out on the track, like from that era of like the 80s and 90s, like you think of people like Ayrton Senna, you think of people that like, oh gosh, there's a driver that I'm thinking of that had a horrible crash, and you just see like his feet sticking out of the front of the car, like the whole front of the car just gets knocked off. So you have like these eras of F1 that it calls back to and kind of reminds you of like, yo, things are safe these days, and a lot of these things don't always happen, but you see every now and then, like, you get a reminder of like, yo, this is still a dangerous sport. And I loved just everything about it, where it shows, it just shows like it just made it so real and like brought it home, where like everything at that point just stopped. Like it was just like freeze. And yeah, it was a great moment of like really just showing it. It was similar to the Gran Turismo movie, for people that like the big accident scene in that one. And that one was like the real life, like that what happened in that accident happened in real life, like as far as like the casualties, all that stuff, like, and that too in that movie, like crazy. That corner, yeah, that in that corner, or that where that happened, where like that accident in that movie, that was like based off of like, again, like real life stuff where other drivers and accidents had happened. And it's like you see it, you can find compilations on YouTube of like that incident and that track, or like cars going off at that point. So it was a great representation of like, yo, like when you have an accident like that, the aerodynamics in these cars, like they're basically like upside down airplane wings, right? They're meant to push the car down. But if you flip that car up, or like upside down, or flip it, now and depending on the situation, but now that car is going straight up in the air, because now it's flipped upside down. Now it's gonna just shoot back up and flip in the air and go airborne. So yeah, super crazy, but really well done the way they like put it together and made it like just brought it home, or like really like tone shift of like a motherfucker.
Tone clench. I just feel like they just grabbed the audience, like just because it was just still like after that you had to pause. It's such dynamic filmmaking. I think another one, I'm not sure if you watched Ferrari, there's a pretty nasty crash in Ferrari too.
Is that the Ford v Ferrari one?
Not the Ford v Ferrari one, but there's a Ferrari one starring Adam Driver.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. I heard like mixed things about it, but I want to watch it because car movies. So
yeah, I personally really liked it. I didn't know people didn't like it until I started listening. I went on the internet afterwards. I really liked it. But there's a pretty good crash in that one too. Not that there's good crashes, but you feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to kind of wrap us up, I think the number one thing that F1 taught me is just how much, like, I think when it comes, and it's kind of going back to the impetus of even the podcast of Banquet Hall in general, the amount of thought, the amount of teamwork, the amount of expertise, the amount of knowledge that goes into this, I was completely ignorant. Like I said, I knew absolutely nothing about F1 outside of the podcast you and I did, which if y'all haven't listened to Lou's episode of the podcast, make sure y'all go check that in the archive so you can hear us talk a little bit more about him, his journey, and his love for F1. So I didn't even realize just how much science was into it, the physics of it, the calculus of it. I was watching, I was like, oh, you have to be locked into your shit to do F1. So that was something that I think just really like got my brain going. Like I love learning through movies and getting invested in something. And I definitely think that I want to pay more attention to F1, watch some videos, watch some highlights, just to get more knowledge about it, because yeah, just such a great movie. I totally lost where I was even going with saying that, but we are going to get it back because I'm a professional, sir. Yes. So yes, really loved, really enjoyed that movie. I feel so bad. I think I said this in the pre-pod too. I feel so bad for someone who has to see this for the first time without the sound system of a movie theater.
Yeah, that was seeing it in IMAX. So the first couple times I saw it, I didn't see it in IMAX, but the fourth time that I saw it, I got to see it in. No, the third time I saw it, I got to see it in IMAX. And I was like, this is how the movie was meant to be watched and enjoyed. Like
Yeah.
the sound alone was like probably the biggest thing. I mean, the screen quality, of course, but the sound design and everything in that movie was top tier.
Yeah, I saw it in Dolby Digital. I didn't get to see it in IMAX, so I didn't get as tall of a screen, but it
Yeah.
still had that like moving sound, and
Hmm.
that's just it puts you on the racetrack.
Yeah.
And listeners, I'm gonna take this webcam down. If you watch this movie for the first time on your iPhone, I will find you. That is disrespectful.
Dude, so don't watch it on the TV. Don't watch it on no iPhone. If you're gonna watch it on the iPad, like or if you're gonna watch it on a phone, watch it with headphones. Don't
You
watch
have
it
to.
with
You
your speakers.
don't
'Cause
have it
again,
on while you're making your pot of spaghetti and the phone is on the counter. No, watch it.
no. It won't. I heard that. I know Apple did the movie, but if you try to watch it on your phone will actually self-destruct and fly
I
off the
did hear
counter.
that.
Yeah. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It'll actually launch and race out of your life forever. So if you do that at your own risk. But I know the listeners here are all people that are very, very well thought out people that care about the art form. So I know and trust that you guys will not do that. You'll watch it on the proper viewing format, and if you don't have that available, then you will find it because it deserves it. It's a movie that it's one of the better car films that I've seen. The action was great, the writing was great. It was a very, very well done film. Small criticism. Well, not a small criticism, but
Go for it.
just for the people at home, Sonny is not taking over the strategy like that. In real life, the driver is not
Oh
doing
yeah.
that. He's
Yeah.
not sitting in the pits for 30 seconds because he wants a different set of tires. That's not happening. His race is ruined if he does that. That would never happen. He would have been banned after race 1 for all of the incidents and dangerous driving that he was doing. He would not have made it to race 3 where he's like, well, now everybody focused on me, so now we go and attack. No. That's not how it would work. We would have been banned, and the team would have sunk, and he would have been kicked out of F1 more than likely. Ruben would have fired him. He's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? I need this to survive. I need you to not do this. So yeah, that wouldn't have happened. But Hollywood, they made it entertaining. And there is the strategy of it and having to think outside the box when you are a backmarker team. That is a big thing. The other criticism is that Sonny isn't hijacking, making the car more aerodynamic for combat, like the mid-season upgrades and stuff like that. That's not taking a back marker team to a front marker team or any of that. Like, he's not just hijacking the whole direction and making the car all these different things. That doesn't happen. Again, Hollywood magic. So we're going to just ignore it. And I'm not going to criticize him too much. But just for clarity, if you see that in a race and you're wondering why the drivers aren't like, well, why aren't they just changing the tires? Or why aren't they just knocking the wing off of the other car driver or of the other cars to advance their strategy? Because that's illegal. Well, it's not illegal, but yeah,
Right.
you get in trouble for that in real life. So again, black man watching a white man get away with flaunting the rules and breaking the rules and not really doing stuff and not really, being a rogue wolf or lone wolf. But jokes aside, and criticisms aside, again, it was a fantastic film. Highly encourage everyone to watch it. I heard they're going to be making a sequel, or they're in talks of doing a sequel. Now, here's the thing: F2 is the feeder series that leads into F1. So if they do F2, that would be cool to show going from F2 to F1 and the challenge that is, because that is a highly competitive. F1 is the pinnacle, right? It's the apex, pun intended, of motorsport for a lot of people. It's the most money. It's the biggest teams. You've got the history. It's been going since like the 50s. You've got such huge just it's so much that goes into F1, and it's such a coveted position for drivers around the world. You've got 10 teams, you've got 20 drivers, there's 20 spots only, and it's super competitive. So right now you have kind of a changing of the guard. You got a lot of new drivers, a lot of rookies, a lot of people that are coming up. Some of the stars that have been there are starting to age out. You got people that are coming out. Some people are coming back in next season, but you've got kind of a transitional period for the sport where you have a lot of new faces. And, of course, again, with the recent rise of F1 popularity, you got a lot of changes. So stuff like the F1 movie is helping to kind of bolster that change and bring more people, more money into the sport. You've got it really, I think, exposes a lot of people to like what it means to be there. And that's the other thing a little bit with F1, the movie, that Sonny just shows up and drives. That doesn't happen, but I think when people get into the sport, they'll learn for themselves. Same thing with Drive to Survive. It's a bit dramatic, it's reality TV, but once you get into the sport, you see it's just as entertaining to see all of the storylines play out, all of the the developments and all the things, like all of the things that just come from like any other sport. You have things that are more dramatic even compared to like NBA, football, baseball, things that are happening like in real time, in real season, where people get fired, people switch teams, all of these things like happen mid-season. It's super engaging, it's super exciting. As you said before, it's electric. It's a sport that for me, I've become a bigger fan of F1 than I do of like most of the other sports that I was a fan of, especially football was my big one. So for F1, for me, that one, I mean, I was already a racing person, but that's become like my sport. And I think a lot of people, especially black people, I think should be more, not just F1. I'm gonna use this as another as a springboard. Like, be a fan of F1 and support the people that and support people, opening avenues for people to get into something that previously was not really made aware of. A lot of people didn't know of as like an avenue for like tech, engineering, all of these things. But also look at F1 is the pinnacle, but there are so many other racing series and events and like activities that people can get to, where F1, like I started getting into like sim racing and all this because I was like, one day I want to drive an F1 car, and I still do, but I've learned that there's so many other exciting racing series out there and racing disciplines that you can get into, that especially as black people, I would love to see more black people get into and just represent, because I think that it's a lot of opportunity. And black people, we gonna show up, we gonna do it with style, we gonna show up, we gonna run the game, we gonna do it up. So yeah, also Willie T. Ribbs, if you're not familiar, look up his story for IndyCar, American race driver, American black racing driver, his story and his documentary. I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but or if it was on Amazon, but very, very, very fire story to find out about how he almost became the first black F1 driver before Lewis Hamilton. This was way back in like the 80s. But yeah, really cool story. And I think that like just this for F1, especially for black people and people of color, it opens the doors to so much more outside of the traditional avenues of football or basketball, like the sports that we have in America. Like, I think it helps to really expand your horizons to what's out there. So I love the sport. I advocated for it heavily. Not just because for the sport, but for what it does as far as like expanding your horizons to other things that you may not previously expose yourself to. So yeah.
Lou, you did not let me down, sir. I knew that if there was one man for the job of being the first guest of the 4K Film Club, but the most knowledgeable person ever when it comes to F1. Because once again, I came into the movie just clean slate, Brad Pitt, cars, let's go. I had a great time. I ain't know nothing about nothing that you just talked about, but I knew if we were to sit down and have a conversation, that you would bless the listeners with such depth of knowledge and perspective, more importantly, about something that could be you might have just discovered a new passion for somebody. Somebody might dive into F1 just because they see your level of excitement for it. Both shameless plug once again for Lou's earlier episode of the Banquet Hall podcast itself, but as well as this conversation about F1. But Lou, before I let you go, where can folks find you? How can they support you? What you got going on?
Yes, so you can find me on social media, Lou Salem, LEWSALEM. That's my social media platform everywhere. So so we didn't really touch on it too much this time around, but I am an artist. I make music. I've been doing it for about 10, 11 years now. So I do have music up on all the streaming platforms except Spotify. Maybe all of that stuff may be coming down just because artist agreements and terms of agreement and all that shit is mad fucking insane. So
you might not be on pirouette on another playlist now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Apple. I mean, Apple one, but then also even.biz is a artist-centered platform that where you can do direct to consumer. Yeah, a lot of cool tech and stuff like that as far as like options for artists to be able to connect with fans and provide different things or avenues and like be able to actually own and put, kind of, shout out to Nipsey. Proud to pay. Similar concepts and ethos, but just more options for the tech of it. So I was using Bandcamp for a while, but even.biz is the
Mhm.
newer platform, and I believe it's not black owned, but they fuck with black people. So yeah. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And then as of lately, like I've been doing a lot more sim racing. So I race with a team, Camber and Caster, based here in Oceanside. I started racing with them earlier this year as a part of their esports team. So I've been doing a lot more of that. Racing on the iRacing platform. So we do streams, we do Twitch, also INIT esports. They're doing a talent scouting competition and our series for the US esports Olympics team for sim racing. So I've been participating in some of their events, trying to get the name out there and all of that. So they do Twitch as well. And then last but not least, Fox Tekka, FOXXTECCA. Fox Tekka, they're a black brand auto motorsports company and brand that supports black racers, and they have a couple black drivers under their roster that they support. Unfortunately, I don't know the names off the top of my head, but they're actually doing a league right now with Apex Racing. So I've been doing that on Tuesdays. They have a league that they've been running. Next week is the final lap or season or final race of this current like league competition. But they're a dope brand that I stumbled upon, and was like, yo, more black people, more black representation in sports and all of that. So um yeah, I think that's all of the shout outs and stuff that I've been up to lately. I've been just doing a lot of sim racing, still working on music, got some stuff in the pipeline for a couple artists that I've been working with, kind of forming a mini group. So before, without spilling too much of the beans on that, I've been working on that and stuff's been coming out fire. So yeah, but above all, Lou Salem on all platforms to find out what I'm doing up to, because I am full on, I feel like, in my Snoop Dogg phase of life of side quests, and I don't have
Mhm.
Snoop Dogg money, but I'm like, I don't need, why wait? So yeah, been doing that. Got a lot of stuff, just working on and trying to get better at long distance running, triathlon stuff eventually in a couple years. So yeah.
Audience, that's how you plug yourself.
Yeah.
Lou, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you delivered everything that I could have dreamed and more. So thank you so much for being on the podcast once again.
Yes.
Is that Spider Punk on your desk, by the way? I've been staring at that
Yes.
for a little bit.
Spider Punk. It was a gift from my homie Leonard. Got me a Funko Pop from the movie. So shout out to Leonard. Shout out to Spider Punk. I heard that they're gonna be making him a movie, a full length
Hmm.
movie. So I'm like, yes, more black representation and different avenues. I love that Spider Punk is he was the coolest. He stole the show in Spider-Man. So yeah, I'm super excited to see that. So yeah, got some cool stuff over here. Got some more Funko Pops out of screen and all of that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a little blurb. I got X-Men right here. That's Mystique. There's Wolverine,
Yeah.
Cyclops, Magneto's right here. Professor X, Grogu's right here. I got the whole collection over here. But thank you so much, Lou. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
What a what a great episode. Um, Shout out to Lou, shout out to Louis, shout out to whoever I had on the podcast. I still think that first part was kind of weird. I don't know if he was an imposter, if he's trying to steal Lewis Hamilton's identity. I hope we don't get sued for this episode. However, if y'all have made it this far, I want to say thanks for tuning in to 4K Film Club, brought to you by the fourth Kyler. It has been quite some time since I posted an episode. For those of y'all who are eagle-eyed and maybe have noticed, I thought I would throw on the hoodie to like try to trick some of y'all, but this video is being recorded a couple months after that episode was recorded. Just life has been happening. Haven't really had the motivation, time, energy, whatever it may be. I just hated it. Whatever we want to chalk it up to, it didn't get done. But finally in the headspace where I got the episode edited, excited to bring this to y'all. F1 is still one of my favorite movies of the year, so if y'all have the funds to rent it on Amazon Prime, I personally think it's worth it, especially if you need some good action in your life. But to close out this episode, for most episodes of the podcast, I've usually read my letterbox review if I had one. So want to take the time to pull that up. If y'all don't already have a Letterboxd account, make sure y'all follow me, letterboxd.com/the fourth Kyler. Let's see what the fourth Kyler had to say about this movie. It has been quite some time. So this was June 29, 2025. It's a little long, but I am afraid they cooked. Made me wish I had an existing relationship with F1 beforehand to appreciate some of the nuances of the movie a bit more, but such good filmmaking. Great summer popcorn blockbuster that makes you want to stand up and cheer like you're in the pit crew. And I kid y'all not, like when we got to the end of the movie, and see, like even I say we, like I'm telling y'all, I was there on that racetrack, like part of the pit crew. But when we got to the end, I wanted to just like we did it, and y'all did it too. We did it. We did it. We did it. If y'all don't understand that reference, y'all wasn't inside enough. But thank y'all for tuning into the podcast. If y'all didn't notice, this episode was actually uploaded to the brand new 4K Film Club page, but just trying to do a better job at making sure that the content, the different arms and branches of the banquet hall can meet the listeners that are part of the target audiences. Of course, my hope is that y'all all listen to these film reviews and want to see more about what the banquet hall is about. So hopefully y'all stick around and check out some interviews on the Banquet Hall podcast. Really just trying to do my due diligence to create these villages, to spread these circles, get our circles interconnected, and just see these great stories that are out there. But thank y'all for tuning in to 4K Film Club. Next up, I think I want to do Superman. So we'll see what comes next. Ooh, or maybe I should do weapons. See, I want horror movies. It's a little late. I had a whole production plan for things I wanted to do. Life got away from me, but we gonna get back at it. We gonna get y'all some films. And it doesn't matter when you watch this anyway. Some of y'all are watching this in like 2045. And if y'all are watching this in 2045, I'm so happy that we made it. Or at least the archive made it. We probably, I don't know. If you're watching this, you're okay. So shout out to you.